Fushigi.
Thank you for purchasing your new Fushigi ball. Fushigi is uniquely designed to enhance the reflective properties of the sphere and the overall illusion. Its patent-pending design makes it the only contact juggling ball in the world that includes the ball-in-ball design and is actually safe to use in the sun. Clear acrylics do magnify the sun and can become a magnifying glass when placed or used in sunlight, so beware. Because of the ball-in-ball design of your Fushigi, it will not create a hot spot. So if you're not using Fushigi, please be careful. Now each Fushigi is hand polished so that every Fushigi is unique to itself. You may notice slight variations from one to another. Please make sure you practice it first over carpeting or soft surface. You may drop your Fushigi in the beginning, but you don't want to damage tile, hardwood floor, or especially your Fushigi. But your Fushigi will not break or shatter, but scratches can happen if it's handled improperly. This is a skill art, and it does take some practice, time, and dedication to honing your skills and abilities with your Fushigi ball. Hello and welcome to the Fushigi Training DVD. I'm the Amazing Kenny, and I'll be teaching you to master the art of Fushigi. Your Fushigi does not, in fact, float on its own. It's a magic ball because it capitalizes on the illusions of levitation and flotation that you can produce with simple motions. This art is based on the art of contact juggling. The Fushigi ball is designed for these sort of manipulations. It's recommended that before you attempt any of the more difficult manipulations with your Fushigi that you please watch the DVD and read the materials that we've given you so that you can become a Fushigi master safely while still having fun. There's three categories that we're going to break this up into. Isolations, where it looks like the ball is floating or levitating. Hand rolls and body rolls, where it glides across your hands and body. And palm spinning, which is using multiple spheres at once in a single hand or in both hands. Now, the secret to isolations is being able to keep the ball stationary in one point and doing other things with your hands. Now, right now, I'm holding a ball. Now, I'm doing magic. This is what we call the simple levitation or claw isolation. It's called a claw because I'm kind of clawing the ball and holding it just with my pointer finger and thumb. The simple way to learn this is to hold it in front of your body, move your hand up in front of the sphere, slide down the side, and then twist to the beginning. Again, that's up in the front, down the side, and twist. You may want to watch the ball closely as you try this and make sure that it's staying still. Because if you move the ball around even a little bit, you've destroyed the illusion that we're creating. Now, we've taught you the steps of up, side, and twist. You can actually do it in reverse and still have the illusion. You can move all around as long as the ball remains stationary. That's the claw isolation. Our next trick in the isolation series is the enigma, which is one of my favorite moves. And it looks like this. It's actually fairly simple to do. You start with the ball in one of your hands, put the other hand on top, and you're going to kind of push against it gently so it's not just going to fall out. You're going to move your thumb and pointer finger up so that it rolls up to this position, then switch which thumb and pointer finger is on it and roll back down. And that's right where we started. So then you do it again, first going up in the front and then down. Up, thumb and pointer, switch, and down. Now, as long as you're keeping pressure, then the ball will be stuck there. A lot of times it'll begin to move gently as you're trying to learn. You want to focus by looking into a mirror or focusing on the sphere and keeping it still in space. You can also flip it, so your other hand is on top, and it's still the same motion. Do it sideways, or even while moving to create another wave, or it's a whole different move, even though all you're doing is rolling it between your fingers. Now, the audience can't tell how it's working. The ball is actually rolling in this direction as it goes up, switch, and down. But because there's no tell marks on the magic Fushigi sphere, Nobody knows what's going on. And that's our enigma. Next, we're going to teach you ringing the towel. It starts by putting the ball on your fist, kind of like it's an ice cream cone. Your other hand goes on top, and you just flip the ball over. Take one hand away, and then I'm going to roll it down my fingers. The very tips of my fingers makes it easier to see for the audience. Back to this fist, and repeat. Slide across the fingers, and back up. By doing this motion, it's kind of like wringing out a towel. You can go back and forth, you can pretend like you're driving, or you can keep going in one direction, or switch. And that's the wringing the towel isolation. Next, we're going to be working again with that ice cream cone for the ice cream ascension. What I'm going to do is make my fist, put the ball on top, and we can actually make it grab with the other fingers, but just with my pinky and ring finger, and then move it up to the top to the other ice cream cone. So we switch from one hand up the fingers to the next one. And in that way, this creates an ice cream float or an ice cream ascension. You can push it down and do it again. You can actually keep it in the same point in space. There's an ice cream levitation. Or even have the ball falling slightly forward for this forward roll. And there's our ice cream ascension. This is the wiper. It's kind of like a windshield wiper, moving in an arc with your elbow staying in almost the same spot. The way that this is done is by first developing your cradle. And that's holding anything on the back of your hand. The way you do that is by holding it out in front of you, straight with the ground. Put your middle finger down a little bit, and that creates a 3-finger cradle. It looks about just like this with my finger pointing forward. You can also do a 2-finger cradle, which is like this, or a fork. That has a little bit less surface area, but for some people it will be more comfortable. Or even a Vulcan cradle. Live long and prosper. Well, I prefer the 3-finger cradle for learning. It's what I'm going to teach. Once you have this here, you want to move your hand side to side to feel the balance of the ball and its inertia. Once you can do that, then move it up and down quickly, and you want to catch it softly like you're catching an egg, or a baby egg. Very soft is the idea. Once you can have it do that, then have it leave your hand and again catch on the cradle, just by 1 inch with a very soft catch. Once you can do that, then flip your hand and catch it in the palm and try and go back. This may take a little bit of practice. Feel free to spend as much time on it as you need. Once you have it down, you're again going to hold it parallel with your body. You're going to throw the ball gently, just off the tips of your fingers, point your hand at it, and catch in the palm of your hand, and then reverse, trying to bring it back. And this is kind of a flyaway wiper. You see the ball comes off of my hand. The beauty and grace of contact juggling with your Fushigi comes with keeping contact with the ball. You throw it more gently, glide your hand underneath it, and then you're doing the wiper. Next, we're going to learn the cradle to palm transfer, and that's exactly the way it sounds. You'll hold the ball in your cradle, you transfer it to your palm. Well, to make that into a complete move, or a cradle to palm butterfly, you windshield wiper, place it in your palm, and wiper again. This creates an infinity symbol, which contact jugglers call butterflies. And that's the cradle to palm butterfly or wiper. Now, once we can do the cradle to palm, you can actually reverse it and do palm to cradle. It's in my palm, I transfer it to my cradle and flip it over. And it's a whole different move learning it backwards. So now you have the cradle to palm and palm to cradle. The next trick with your Fushigi sphere is the half pipe. This one's for you skaters out there. And the way it starts is either in the tripod or your palm. You're going to roll it with that palm to back transfer like we learned earlier. You then do a back to back transfer, just kind of dumping it from one cradle to the next, then from the cradle to palm and up. That creates this series of motions which put together create the half pipe. It's important to try and keep it moving in a straight line. And if you want to embellish a little further, Try and get it to go all the way to the tips of your fingers and stop, like you're at the top of it. It goes all the way down and back up. And that's the half pipe. Now I'm going to teach you the finger flip and the pilf regnif, which I'll explain in a minute. The finger flip starts on the cradle. You're actually going to flip it around one finger. Your pointer finger goes around the ball, and you end up back in the ice cream cone. So that's going to be a finger flip, flipping it around one finger, and just kind of catching it at the end. Finger flip, finger flip. If you spell it backwards, finger flip becomes pilf regnif. So we're going to reverse it and go from the ice cream cone to the cradle. Again, going around your pointer finger and settling it gently into the cradle position. So now there's the finger flip and pilf regnif. Now you get to learn the prayer pass, and that's going to be this motion. It's holding your hands together as if you're praying and having the ball go from one side to the other. Now instead of using the 3-finger hold that we've been using, for this you need to use a 2-finger hold or a fork. So you might want to take some time developing that feel, because the ball is going to pass directly from one hand to the other. When you're comfortable, put one hand under the other, and you're going to make an arc and catch it on the back of your hand, just like we were learning the wiper, but now it's two-handed. It comes off of the fingers and back onto the other cradle. Once you can make that catch softly, have it roll just barely over the tips to gracefully settle into the cradle position. You can also stop it halfway on the tips of your fingers for a prayer hold. The simple way to get to that is just by putting it between your fingers and squeezing against the ball a little bit and making it rise up. You can get your fingers fairly far apart or very close together depending on your comfort level for the prayer hold and prayer pass. From the prayer hold, we're going to learn the Venus flytrap, which is one of my favorites. It's kind of like the Venus flytrap closing on a fly, but the fly escapes, or in this case, the Fushigi. You start on one side ready for your prayer pass, but instead of going all the way over, you're just going to open up one hand so it goes to the palm. You then do a palm-to-palm transfer, kind of across what would be the heels of your hand. Go to your other fingers, and then switch to the prayer position again. And you can do it back. Open to palm, palm to palm, palm to cradle. And that series is called the Venus flytrap. Now we'll be talking about our isolations and what you can do with them. Specifically, we're going to talk about string pulls and pushes. Now, obviously, you've worked with a Fushigi ball. You know there's no string and there's no magnets involved in any way. This is a miming technique. So all you do is establish a distance that you want your hand to be and then keep the ball at the same distance as if you're moving it. And you can have your hand open or closed like you're grabbing a string. This can be done with any of your isolations, whether it's the simple claw levitation, a palm spin, or even an ice cream cone. You can keep it moving. And the sky's the limit with what you can do. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. You can go diagonally. It can flow in waves, as long as you're establishing a connection with the sphere and with your audience. You can do anything with your Fushigi ball. And those are string pulls and pushes. Welcome to the palm spinning portion of the day. Palm spinning is when you use more than one Fushigi for your contact juggling experiments. For teaching the palm spin, I'm going to use 2 of our 3-inch Fushigi. And basically how it's done is that you find a place that you can hold 2 of them comfortably in your hand and try and switch, probably the front ball with the back ball, in either direction. It's up to you. All you do is push one around. I lift my fingers up to push it towards my thumb, and then already that pushes the ball around to the front. And again, switch them again, lifting up your fingers to push it, and as it gets to this side, this ball will be pushed to your pinky and again to the front of your fingers. This is called thumb pulling because I'm pulling the ball with my thumb. If you go the other direction, which is natural for some and more difficult for others, it's thumb pushing, because then you're pushing with your thumb and following it around your fingers. No matter which way is more natural for you, it's recommended that you learn it the other way and in both hands. And there's palm spinning at its basics. Now we're going to be teaching you a 2-ball palm spin isolation. This combines the theories from before about keeping a ball still in space with our palm spinning techniques. And basically what's happening is that when we're moving the balls around in a circle, you're then going to move your hand around in a circular motion and negate the movement of one of the Fushigi. So if I'm trying to make this one stand still, as I move my sphere around, I'm going to move my hand forward and then back, and forward and back. It also moves left and right. This takes a little practice in front of a mirror to understand exactly how to move your hand, your body, and the Fushigi all at the same time to be able to negate the motion of one and make it look like it's just floating there for a 2-ball palm spin isolation. Again, it can be done in either direction or in any hand in any direction. Next, we're going to learn the single palm spin isolation, which is done almost exactly the same way as 2. As a skill building practice, you can try and keep your Fushigi spheres separated and not let them touch. And if you can do that, then you can remove the second sphere and your Fushigi will be doing a single palm spin isolation. The other way to learn is to learn to move the Fushigi in a circle in your hand, from your fingers to your palm. And once you can make it circle, then you move your hand in that very same circle to negate the motion. And that creates the illusion of levitation just by spinning a ball around in your hand. And that's our single palm spin isolation. Now in our isolation series, we're going to be teaching you the spin doctor, which is a funky little move doing this chicken dance. But it's kind of neat because what happens is you're going to hold the ball in your hands, and just like with the Enigma, put a little bit of pressure so that the ball isn't going to just fall. You hold it together, and I'm going to take my left hand over here and push the ball around the back of my right and towards the front. There's one switch. You then move your right hand around the back of your left or around the front. The direction really doesn't matter. It's whichever way is most comfortable for you. As long as you're having fun doing Fushigi, you're doing it absolutely right. Now, once you can move it around one hand independently, you can focus on keeping the sphere stationary and move both hands so that the ball seems caught in space as your hands just wave around it. And now you can see why it's a magical ball. This move we call the spin doctor. Now you're going to learn the UFO, which reminds me a lot of our simple levitation, but now you have 2 arms getting in on the act. And basically what you're going to do is hold it in one hand and have the other hand there for support. You can hold it between both as long as you feel confident. And just have it gently resting there. The more surface area that you cover from the ball, the less impressive it looks. So you want to barely touch the sphere, and you just rotate around it, just like we did with the claw levitation isolation. As long as you keep the ball stationary, it seems to be stuck. It seems to be floating like you're not touching at all. Again, this is possible because this is a magician's skill toy. There's no tell marks on the ball to let your audience know exactly how you move. And that's our UFO, unidentified Fushigi object. Now you're going to learn the 3-ball palm spin. For beginners or people with smaller hands, we recommend our Fushigi minis, which instead of being 3-inch spheres are 2.5. So it's more simple, a little bit easier to get all 3 spheres into your hand. And this is taught exactly the same way as the 2-ball palm spin. You simply need to be able to take one sphere and move it to the next position. From here, I'm going to lift my fingers up, my pinky, ring finger, pointer, and get it all the way to where now it's in my thumb. And do that again with the next ball. It pushes the other 2 around. For a lot of beginners, you'll find that it wants to fall off this side of your hand. You can keep your other hand there or even push the ball around until you feel more comfortable as that Fushigi rides that outer ridge on your pinky. Now, if you want to make it harder from the 3-ball palm spin, you can add a 4th on top. This is slightly difficult because the weight of the top ball wants to push these out. So you need to be very confident with your 3-ball palm spin to build the pyramid. Once there, you can try other manipulations. My favorite is the chop. That's a Fushigi pyramid. And the chop. Now, once you have your curls in one hand, you can do them in the other, or even at the same time. If you feel very confident with your 3-ball palm spinning, you can curl with 3, or even with 4. Now, these can be very difficult, and you need to be very careful when practicing, because that ball is precariously set on top. And now you know how to do curls. Next, we're going to learn the twist. And once you've learned to do palm spinning in both hands in both directions, you can make them work together for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate these around and just grab these two and go over the top. And then you can grab the other set and rotate these and follow that around. This is known as a line spin or a twist. If you want to test your flexibility, you can do the Kenny twist, which looks like this. It's a little bit more difficult and requires you to be able to double your arms up. Or here's our line spin, Fushigi twist. And now I'm going to share with you a closely guarded secret, one of the hardest manipulations with your Fushigi sphere. This is one that I pioneered and named the caterpillar. Impressive, right? I know. But wait, there's more. Not to be confused with the caterpillar, this is the squid. Pretty scary. And finally, the jellyfish of doom. Hold on to your seats, kids. Jellyfish of doom. Now, not all tricks with your Fushigi are difficult. Some of them are very simple. A lot of them are very simple. It's all in how you perform them, how you sell them to the audience, and whether you're going for comedy, grace, and skill. It's up to you. Next, we're going to be teaching you a chest roll. This one takes a little practice, but it's an absolutely phenomenal skill. And it's actually easier to start with a larger ball, maybe a basketball or a soccer ball, to learn the basic skill and then work down to your Fushigi size. The chest roll is exactly that, rolling it across your chest. Now, the skill building for this is that you want to learn the arm rolls, where it goes from your arm or back down, and on the other side, so that you can control it on your arms. It's going to take a lot of practice and feel to be able to get it to go across your chest and then recover it on your arm roll side. And you want to make it go as slow as possible and still have it be controlled. If you go too slow, then it stalls out and falls down. If you go too fast, you're going to have a hard time with it flying off of your body. But you can keep working on it, find the perfect space to make it gently fall across your body and into your other awaiting palm. You may also be interested in our Fushigi minis. And these are made specifically for palm spinning, for beginners with either smaller hands or that are looking to work towards 3 and 4 Fushigi in one hand. These are to build the proper exercises and proper techniques so that you can move up to your standard 3-inch Fushigi spheres. You can mix and match them and work up to 3 and still not to be daunted by the task of having standard Fushigis all try and fit into your hands. These are also great for travel size. They fit in your pocket or in your bag much more easily than the larger spheres. You can do everything with your minis that you can do with your standard 3-inch Fushigi, but these are designed specifically for palm spinning. If you're doing anything with hand rolls and body rolls, it's a little bit more difficult, but it can work towards building your skills to a higher level of perfection. This is our new Fushigi Glow Ball. This is perfect for any night work that you're doing. It works beautifully with all of the manipulations that we've learned, like the prayer cross, the enigma, and levitation. Try our new Fushigi Glow Ball today.